pleasure. Oh,
That's
yes,
me.
yeah.
Let me get out of right.
All right.
Well
So
done,
we,
Louise.
okay then.
I'm gonna
So I'd love to be able to ask everybody to make an introduction, and by way of introduction, if you say your name, a little bit about who you are, and give me a reason to be cheerful, okay? Please. So I'm going to start with you, Cheryl, and I'm going to end with you, Brian. So I'll call out the names. Cheryl, who are you? Some background, I know now, and a reason to be cheerful.
Okay, I'm Cheryl Johnson. I do a lot with the community. I am a stage 4 cancer patient, but I don't live my life as a cancer patient. I live my life as Cheryl Johnson. And I love to be a massive advocate for other charities and organisations, especially DCF. But that's who I am.
Wonderful. Elaine.
Oh, good morning. I'm Elaine Green. I am a member of the Ministry of Empowerment, I think. I came on board and I help link to a little bit of exercise. So I've come on the trust and I come on the Ministry of Empowerment usually on a Monday to do a bit of exercise and also to listen to some of the great work that you're all doing. So that's a little bit about me.
Wonderful. And a reason to be cheerful?
Oh, I'm alive. And I'm having my first cuppa for the morning a little bit late today. So that's why I'm happy and cheerful. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Mother Veronica Weir.
Good morning. Good morning. I'm Veronica Weir. I am a friend of the Women's Ministry. I've been online with them. I've been a part of it for the last 10 years. And the reason to be cheerful is a lovely day out. The sun is shining and I'm blessed and highly favored.
Oh, wonderful. Great to hear your voice. So good. I'll say Brian is our speaker for today and he'll introduce himself in a minute. But I'm going to warn you, Brian, she might have to dash off because she has a routine appointment, but she really wanted to check in and show support for today. So thank you. And thank you, Mother Weir. Sister Norma, hello. Can we hear your voice? Sister Norma, are you muted? Your audio it plays up a lot, doesn't it? Can you give us a wave? Can you hear us? Can you hear us? No? Sister Norma? I think she's still having oh, wonderful. Can we hear you? Oh, okay, got sound issues. But greetings to you this morning. I was asking everyone to say a reason to be cheerful and a bit about themselves, but I'm cheerful to just see you and to know you're here listening. So thank you. Juliet Beswick, could you unmute and introduce yourself and give us a good morning and a reason to be cheerful?
Hi.
Hi.
Reason to be cheerful. Yes, the sun is shining today and it just feels wonderful. I'm able to go out in my garden again.
That's wonderful. And a bit about you?
I'm living in France now for the last years, I think.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I had breast cancer in France in 2017. And of course, it was a great shock for me and for my family. But I was taken great care of here in France. And yes, I'm here alive, which is great.
Oh, that is wonderful. That's wonderful and great to hear from you. How is France? What's it like living there?
Brilliant, actually. We live in a village. It's very quiet. Yeah, it's lovely. It's very different to living where we were in London. And we like the quietness. I like gardening, so that's great. We're both retired, so that's another brilliant thing. Yeah, it's great. We still grapple with the language a bit, but people are very helpful. We've gotten to know quite a lot of people in the village. It's a small village, but people are really, really kind and generous and helpful. Yeah, it's good.
Is it south of France?
We're southwest. It's Dordogne or Dordogne.
Ah, yes,
Yeah.
the Dordogne. Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
My dearest friend, she was near Saint-Tropez, and she's just moved to Italy. So
yeah, that's a long way away from us. We didn't want to be too south because, I mean, it's nice to have the sunshine occasionally, but you know, I like the seasons. Actually, I like seasons. So I wouldn't want to be in the sun all the time, apart from the fact that it's not good for me now anyway.
yes, yeah. Well, good to hear from you. Great to hear from you. And you say you're retired. You sound like a baby over the Zoom, I must say. So thank you.
Yeah. No, we're not. Not. Did you say B&B?
No, I said you sound like a baby. Oh, you see, you're French. You can't pick up
right. Okay. Merci.
Thank you.
No, not that young, but yeah, it's good. Life's good.
Oh, wonderful. And Faith Thomas, Faith, aka Mum, you're able to speak? I know reception can be poor. Yes, hi.
Good morning. Good morning. Okay. I won't expose you to my environment, but reason to be cheerful? Yes. Reason to be cheerful. It's a beautiful day. It was a gorgeous weekend.
Yeah.
I feel very, very good today. I'm in an environment where they're making unnecessary loudspeaking, but it's okay. It's okay.
Yes.
I'm glad to be here because I didn't think I would have been able to get on. There was a bit of a connection problem today, but I'm glad. I have been a member of, I've been teens of years, at least 15. I was going through some old letters and saw so many of our old conference information. So yes, Vice Chair, enjoyed. Looking forward to our coming back and getting well and speaker today. Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry, connection is a bit poor, but you sound great. You sound great, Mum. So thank you so much for coming on and supporting. But yeah, she's the vice chair of MOE and has been with MOE some time. I'm going to ask, we've got a couple of newcomers, but I'm going to drop you in to introduce yourself now, Brian, even though you're our keynote speaker today, just pop in and just say who you are, although you'll be saying much more, and a reason to be cheerful. So this is you with your I'm Brian head on.
Yeah, no problem. My name's Brian Duffus, and I'm part of a charity foundation called Duffus Cancer Foundation, also known as DCF for short. I'm very jealous of Juliet being in France right now, because I'm sure it's very nice. I'm going to take a leaf out of her book and Faith's book, in a sense of saying, you know, my reason to be cheerful, it's a delightful day. The sun is shining, and I do plan to go out in the garden later. And just for being here, I'm very grateful and happy to be here.
Wonderful, thank you. And before we do that, come back to you, Sister Charlene, can you unmute? And following that, Valerie Curlew-Waith, what we've said is just introduce yourself somewhat, and your location is very interesting, and a reason to be cheerful, please.
Oh, hi, I'm Charlene from Trinidad and Tobago. Nice and sunny this morning, and I am grateful to be alive. I was not feeling well this weekend at all, but I'm really grateful that God has just touched me. I feel so much better this morning.
Oh, that's wonderful, wonderful. And what's the weather like out there? It's Tobago, isn't it?
Trinidad, oh, sunny,
Trinidad.
sunny. Oh, nice and hot and sunny. I'll send some for you all.
Oh, lovely. Send some over the Zoom waves.
Definitely, definitely.
Great to see you, though. Wonderful to see you.
Great to see you all.
For those of you also who have been on other MOE sessions, Charlene also has a cookery. She will cook and share recipes, and she'll have her chef's hat on and just give amazing recipes and teaching. So if it's something that you're interested in, it's this is a good time. So maybe we could do that, especially as though we know that, and we've talked about how eating healthily and eating for health is so beneficial, and it's something I know that those of you on here really do believe in. Valerie, are you there? Can you unmute, introduce yourself, and give us a reason to be cheerful today?
Hi, good morning, everyone. My reason to be cheerful. First, I'm Valerie Waith. I live in Milton Keynes. Can you hear me clearly?
Very well.
Yes, I live in Milton Keynes. Reason to be grateful. I've taken my first step in fulfilling my purpose and my business. It was launched on Sunday. It went extremely well. I am truly grateful to God, because when you walk in your purpose, you are truly satisfied. So that's my reason to be grateful.
What's your business? And if you say your own business, I'm going to be vexed. What's your business?
So basically, it's actually my sons that orchestrated it. I love to cook, and I feed the homeless and the vulnerable in regard to the elderly every Wednesday. I've been doing that for the past, God knows how long, and that has come into fruition. Plus, from the business side, as I said, I come from a family of cooks. I am a chef. So on Sunday, I do private invitation where I am a gourmet chef. And this Sunday, I provided 16 roast boxes. Every fortnight, I do different themes with my flair of cooking. So I always say I'm a Black English girl cooking West Indian.
Hey, I didn't know that. This is fantastic. I had no idea. Well, that's wonderful. Okay, well, we're just about to hand over to Brian, but we have one more person. We'll talk, Valerie. Gillian Mackenzie? if you could just introduce yourself and give us a reason to be cheerful. The share screen, Brian, is ready for you whenever you are. Hello, Gillian. Hello, Gillian.
Oops. Hi. Hello, everyone. I'm just
hello.
Morning. I'm in the kitchen. I was reminded, actually, Sister Val just reminded me that I'm doing some meal prep.
Oh, yes.
Because this is my snacking time. But yes, my business, what is it that I needed to introduce myself?
A little bit about who you are and what you do, and then a reason to be cheerful.
Oh, wow. Okay, so my name is Gillian McKenzie. What do? I'm a Afro hair consultant, specializing in sister locks and traditional locks. I also am a consultant for a company called Magnetic Wellness, and they specialize in alternative therapy, which is a natural therapy through magnetics and copper, and you wear jewelry that just looks like normal jewelry, but it's healing jewelry. So it's jewelry with a difference. And what's making me happy today? I'm due to be a grandmother again. So that's making me happy today.
Oh my goodness. Yes, anytime now. Anytime now. Bated breath over the phone. All right. And now I am Venice. I am part of the MOE, part of the trust. I also am the web designer for MOE. I have been backing up for Sister Val, Sister Dorothy, whichever you call her, while she's been away. And in doing so, in providing backup for her, I've come to know and love trust. It took all of 5 minutes for me to realize how fantastic it is and how good it is and what it does. And so I have been organizing the meetings with the help of Lee Townsend. Lee Townsend is from Macmillan, and he coordinates a lot of organizations, especially with a nuance, shall I say, towards organizations of color, I think. And he just makes sure that what we do and what is being done out there is networked. It is so critical and important, and I'm so excited about it, because knowing what's out there now, I now feel able to pinpoint the right people to the right places, and it's so empowering. So that's a reason to be cheerful. My reason to be cheerful is that I have started to keep fit. I had a really bad back a couple of years ago, couldn't walk. I'm getting so much better. And I started the 5K runner. Elaine, you started me, because from zero, Elaine runs chair exercises every second and third Monday of the month. And I just did a few of those, not many. I've started since I started. We don't do it enough for me to say I've done loads, but my exercises started there. Elaine, thank you.
Really?
And then I started to think, you know what, I can do this, I can do better, and I can do better. And it was a job to run to the next lamppost. And this morning I did 12 minutes, 3 minutes walking and another 8 minutes. This is progress. So there's much to be cheerful about. And listening, and that's another reason I love trust. When I listen to everybody so far, there's such a can-do attitude, such a can-do, and sometimes from dark places, we just emerge, and that is it. It's wonderful. So that, I think, gives me a good opportunity to introduce Brian now, who we're so privileged to have today. And Brian represents the Duffus Cancer Foundation, and I researched it on the internet. after hearing about it from Lee. And I don't want to say too much from this point. Brian, tell us everything that you can think of to share with us today, and we'll happily listen. And those who unfortunately have said to me, we're missing it, please record it. Please know that it's being recorded. Thank you.
No, listen, I really appreciate being provided with the opportunity to come here today to enable to kind of like present and tell you a little bit more about my foundation. I also want to shout out Lee Townsend as well, because he was responsible for joining us up and making this happen. And it is nice to see a few familiar faces here on screen as well. So thank you for your time. I guess to start with, so as I said, when I introduced myself, my name is Brian Duffus, and I'm a trustee and also the lead coordinator for our foundation, which is called Duffus Cancer Foundation. It's also known as DCF for short. Effectively, the Duffus Cancer Foundation supports young people between the ages of 8 to 17, which I'll get into a little bit more shortly. What I wanted to kind of say, and anytime speaking about the foundation, is only right to talk of its founder and CEO, which is my brother, Leroy Duffus. So Leroy Duffus started the foundation back in 2017. Leroy was a cancer patient, so he was diagnosed with osteosarcoma back in 2013. So for those that don't know, osteosarcoma is like when you have cancer of the bone, like a tumor on the bone. And my brother's tumor was actually in his face and his jawline on the right side of his face, and it was very small. So it's like the equivalent of having like a slight raised lump that you may or may not be concerned with. And when he got checked out, it came back that he actually had cancer. So everyone around us, I mean, as some of you guys are all too familiar with it, you know, once you hear cancer, you become very devastated. And I think everyone apart from Leroy was devastated. Leroy, on the other hand, was sort of very strong-willed. He was unfazed. He was driven. He felt he could beat this. And how I would describe like Leroy, if I were to sum him up, he's like a role model. He's my hero. He's someone that typifies the word resilience, really. So in having, you know, going through his treatment, you know, he had some, basically a high grade of cancer, which he needed treatment for. And through going through that treatment, he had an 18-hour reconstructive surgery, which was deemed successful. You know, they were reported that they caught like, you know, 99.9% of the tumor. However, 6 months later, the cancer came back and it had spread. And with that being said, my brother was given like 3 months to live. So again, everyone was kind of devastated, whereas he just remained the calm one, remained super resilient and focused. And one of the things he wanted to do, being the fact that he has a background within the youth sector, he wanted to set up a foundation, a charity within our family name. And he wanted to basically allow young people to have the opportunity of accessing support. Now, a lot of this was based on his own experience due to the fact that he had 2 children, and the focus is very much on him as a patient. And he was seeing that there was not really anything that they could tap into that was not necessarily cancer related, something that they can do that can take their mind off things. And that kind of provided him with the idea of creating the foundation. So when doing this, he you know, got together with some family and also some friends to provide a bit of a committee, which then developed into trustees. And the idea was then later born several years later. So we had like a launch event in the end of November. I think the November 2017, I believe, at Croydon at the Braithwaite Hall. And my brother's condition started to get really serious then. Although, you know, he still maintained doing what he was doing, there was a slight deterioration. So in doing this event, we wanted to put together like a bit of a video which allowed him to explain his story in his own words and also explain a little bit about the foundation. So what I wanted to do, I wanted to share that video with you guys today so you can see and hear from my brother, and then I'll basically pick the journey up after that. So if you bear with me, God willing, no technical issues, we can get into this. Okay. So you should all be able to see my screen now.
Yep.
Okay.
Leroy Duffus is known as a family man, a people's person who is very sociable and would do anything for others. His can-do attitude has helped him to be successful in life. With many stories and accomplishments under his belt, Leroy has always had a driving passion for helping young people succeed in life. After years of supporting others and inspiring those around him, it was Leroy who suddenly found himself in need of support.
It was back in 2013 that I first noticed a swelling on my face. But you know what men can be like. I just ignored it, thinking it would go away. It was only when close family and friends noticed it and told me about it that I thought I should go and see my GP. My doctor actually referred me to a dentist who then told me to go straight to the hospital. Reflecting back, my dentist must have known what it was. After a lot of tests at the hospital, I was told that I had a growth on the tissue in my face called sarcoma. This was a very difficult time, and I felt like I was treated more like an object than a person. No one spoke to me about sarcoma. I had no idea what sarcoma even meant, or gave me any relevant information about how it would affect me and my life. I am a positive person by nature, and now I am being treated at a top sarcoma cancer center. For the first time since my diagnosis, this was where I felt like I was finally being treated like a person. My consultant sat me down and explained everything, so I knew exactly what my options were. As my tumour was high grade, I needed chemotherapy, followed by surgery. All my family and friends rallied around me when I started treatment, taking it in turns to come and sit with me. During this whole process, I received excellent support from the clinical nurse specialist. When the time came for my surgery, it went very well. A bone was actually taken from my leg to replace my jawbone. Although my face has lost some shape and feeling on one side, I don't really notice it on a day-to-day basis. Several months after my operation, my sarcoma returned in the base of my spine. Surgery wasn't advised because of where the tumour was, so instead I underwent radiotherapy treatment. About 3 months later, I returned for my results, and then was a bombshell. I was told, don't worry about the results of your radiotherapy treatment, it's now spread to your lungs. I was told then that it was terminal. You got 2 options. One was to stop the treatment, to give my body a rest and enjoy my quality of life in the time I have left. And the other was to have ongoing chemotherapy to prolong my life. Now, to take the treatment, that would involve starting the next day. So I made the decision to go ahead with the treatment and start it straight away. Now, 2017 has been a very tough year. The tumours have started to grow, which meant I've had to have 4 operations in 5 months. And as the year progressed, the tumours started to spread around my body. Currently, I've just completed intensive radiotherapy and now undergoing intensive chemo for the next 18 weeks. Obviously, we don't know the outcome of this treatment, as it's getting to that stage where we're running out of options. But, you know, going forward, I'm not sure how long I have left. After being told 2 years ago, my goal was always to reach my 50th birthday, which I did last year. Now I'm content. Yeah, I'm looking forward to enjoying every day I have left in the future. And hopefully it'll be a few more years rather than weeks or months. I do a lot of community work in youth clubs and schools, and mainly with young people from age 14 to 19 years old, who are not in education or employment and can't seem to find a place in the system. Everybody needs a bit of luck and encouragement. I hope in a small way I can help provide that for them. Once I even took an underachieving school from Peckham out to Jamaica to stay at a university. I think it's so important to provide strong black role models, not just rappers, musicians, but scientists and business people. My diagnosis has been life-changing, and it's changed the way I look at life. And now I only look short-term, I never plan long-term. And so far, I've managed to achieve my targets in those short terms. This whole experience has affected my lifestyle, family and friends, my wife and my 2 children. I've tried to raise awareness of my condition, but also cancer in general. I have given talks to trainee GPs at several events, also attended conferences and seminars, and I belong to a number of cancer support groups. I decided with time on my hands, I wanted to get more involved with charity work. I spent 6 months to a year researching what charities are out there, what they were doing, and where could I be of assistance. I found support through the Sarcoma Specialist Centre, who got me in contact with the various support agencies, locally and nationally. The overall aim of the charity is for young people within the age range to have accessibility to support in all areas of their life.
Okay, so that was basically a short video, as you saw, in my brother's words, and it was something we felt was important at the time to show at the launch. It also provided a bit of insight to maybe like distant relatives and friends who were there but didn't quite know what the situation was with Leroy. So it provided them a little bit of insight. Leroy sadly passed away in 2018. So what he managed to achieve is he managed to get the charity and foundation off the ground. Within a short space of time, he managed to put a team together which consisted of youth workers that worked in different parts of South London. He managed to set up a couple of group programs that we were able to deliver. And he managed to do this really quickly. He also managed to obtain an office. So he managed to do a lot of things really, really quickly. In hindsight, perhaps too quickly, but we all encouraged him because it was his vision, his dream, and he kind of wanted to see those things up and running before it was too late for him. So fast forward 2018, it's a very tough year for us due to the fact that we lost, for me, not only a brother, a role model, but you know, the person who was responsible for what we were doing. So there was a period of rest in the sense of, you know, allow everyone to sort of grieve and stuff like that before we got up and running again. I asked the board of trustees if they were happy for me to sort of step in my brother's shoes in order to kind of continue his legacy. It was very important for me at that time that we needed to kind of keep his plans and vision going because it could have easily went the other way. So once I was granted that, it enabled me to step in his shoes. We had to change a few things around what we did in order to be sustainable and keep things manageable. But that was that. And what I'm going to do now, I'm going to share my screen again, and it will help me to kind of talk through what I'm about to show you. So, oops, so come out of that. Bear with me 1 second. Okay, so just going to make this full screen. Okay, hopefully you all can see that. This will enable me to tell you a little bit about specifically what we do. Okay, so first and foremost, what you can see here is basically the board of trustees. So at the top there to my left, you have Jeff Goss. Jeff Goss is our chairman. He has a background in youth engagement and also construction. He's linked, I think he was a former MP actually. He also is linked to MenCap. Bottom left there, you have Jackie Duffus. So Jackie's my sister. Her role within the team, she's a volunteer at the moment, but she's basically responsible for our induction. So any new member of staff or volunteer, she will lead them through in the induction process. She's also the chair of our youth steering group. So we have a steering group which is led by young people and young adults. And their role is to kind of decide, you know, the things that we should do as a foundation, how to reach young people. To her right, we have Mark Hamilton, who's basically the treasurer, has worked in youth engagement for a long time, particularly in Merton Youth Services. Then we have Denise Duffus, who is Leroy's wife. Denise is a head teacher of a school, and she is safeguarding lead. Then we have Rebecca Duffus, who is a trustee, and she was the communications lead, but now she wears many hats. She's a bit of like an understudy to me, to be honest. Then we have Philip Dayton, so he supports Mark when it comes to the accounts. He has like vast experience with accountancy. And then we have Matthew, so Matthew is responsible for our governance. Both Matthew and Philip only joined DCF last year. They've been with us exactly a year, and we wanted to have more skilled trustees to help the delivery of what we do. So what do we do? And this is kind of, I've put it down as our mission statement, but it's kind of like the snapshot which provides you the information. So what do we do? So our aim is to provide local and accessible support for children and young people between the ages of 8 to 17. Now the age range changed. When my brother was responsible for leading us, we, I think it was 12 to 19. I made a shift in the age range due to the fact that we used to receive a lot of referrals for people under 10. So we didn't want to kind of keep declining people. It made me sort of shift it around a little bit. And the other significant change, which is also on this page, and I'll explain in a minute, but we pretty much with the group programs we do, everything's very focused around well-being and building resilience. So therefore, we stopped being sort of like cancer specific, if that makes sense. So just to explain that, people with links to cancer, we support. So therefore, with the children and young people, it could be, we'll support them if they have someone that's close to them who may have cancer or another health matter. So that could be siblings, friends, parent, family member. Our support is open to those young people. In addition to that, as I said, we sort of developed come 2019 to do a lot of work with people that have no cancer link. So this was more focusing around young people who may be experiencing issues with their self-esteem, confidence, anxiety, that kind of stuff. Or they might just be going through a difficult time emotionally. So the aim of that is through offering our caring support and community projects, we aim to make a positive difference, which is a bit of a slogan for us, making a positive difference. How do I move? Okay. So
We have two strands to what we do. So we have like a community offer. So this is where we have community group programs for the age range specified. So on the right hand side there, you can see we have group programs. So we have 4 different group programs. One's called The Right Track, which is basically, it's a 4-week program which focuses on well-being, and I'll share a bit more about that shortly. We have a monthly group called Your Space, and Your Space is like your monthly youth group, youth club for the young people to engage in. So since March last year, we have been doing those sessions virtually over Zoom. And as of this month, we have divided the age group. So we'll have a junior Your Space for young people 8 to 12 and a senior Your Space session for young people 13 to 17. We also have a virtual dance group called Dance Space. So this is a monthly dance session which enables young people to join and learn some new sort of street dance moves and routines by the facilitator. And we also have a project called Your Vision. So Your Vision is a media film project which allows young people to make short films or documentaries around subject matters that are relevant to them and also about their community. So going into those a little bit in a bit more detail, the Right Track program is funded by Children in Need. Most of our programs actually are funded by Children in Need. So with the Right Track, as I said before, it's basically a well-being program where the whole aim is to hopefully teach the young people some new strategies and tactics while engaging in fun activities. So it's a 4-week program. And with the 4-week program, we focus on different areas such as healthy lifestyles, stress management, what is resilience, and communication. So over this program, the young people get to engage in various activities, which include mindfulness, yoga, some shadow boxing and other sort of fun strategic games, which helps them to reflect on how to become more a resilient person. The Your Space sessions, so this is basically like our flagship sessions really, again sponsored by Children in Need, and we do this monthly. It's great looking at this picture actually because it reminds me of what it used to be like prior to lockdown. So as well as having a space where the young people can come to and touch base and have fun for 2 hours, we also go on different trips and stuff during half term and holiday seasons. Here's like a little picture about Dance Space. So again, that's one of the things we started in lockdown as a bit of a trial to provide more different things that young people can access. So the other side as well is, as of last year, so as of 2020, we received some money from Croydon Council. This enabled us to deliver the Right Track program in schools. So very similar to our 4-week program, we condensed it to 3 weeks. And with this program, it's open to all children and young people who live in Croydon, based between 8 to 17. And what we do, we have a team of youth workers who go into schools to deliver this program. So they go into schools across Croydon, so primary and secondary schools, and they deliver a modified version of the Right Track program. And then as a secondary option as well, the youth workers have a befriender process as well, which enables them to do one-to-one work with young people that have been identified as needing further support, perhaps from the schools. And what we then try to do is we try to link those individuals and anyone we support into our community program so they can access our support going forward. With this particular project, it's a 3-year project. So we're currently in year 2
of this project, and the pandemic has had a massive impact on our delivery with this program. But what we have been doing during lockdown is we've been offering virtual one-to-one sessions with members from the school. In terms of getting in contact with us, there are several ways you can do that. I would definitely send over some information to Venice, but this is basically our email address if anyone wanted to touch base with us and ask us questions, perhaps maybe about events or how to donate or whatever that might be. That's our email address. We're also on a number of social media platforms. So we are on Facebook. You can search for us, which is at Duffus CF, which is all one word. We're also on Twitter as well, which is the same address. And then as of last year, we joined Instagram. So our content on Instagram is slightly different from what we put on Facebook and Twitter, as Instagram's more for a younger age platform. So that address is at Duffus_foundation. And as you can see, when you go onto that, there are sort of like a number of videos and information about our events, and you kind of get to see different members of the team and what we do, etc., etc. And finally, as I said, the email address is there, but we have a communications worker called Helen, and she's responsible for all of our communications and social media information. So that's also her email address as well. So hopefully that was very helpful. There is another video if there's time, but I'm quite happy to leave. Do you want to go? You want to go again? All right, I'll show you a quick video. This is 2 minutes, so it's not long. And again, it provides just a little bit of oversight of what I just explained prior to some of the new groups starting, but I'll do that, so bear with me. Where are we? Okay. The Duffus Cancer Foundation is a South London-based charity which supports children and young people between 8 and 17 who have been indirectly affected by cancer. We support children and young people who may have experienced emotional hardship.
The foundation was founded by Leroy Duffus in 2017, following his sarcoma diagnosis 4 years earlier. Through his experiences with cancer, he found that there was a lack of local community support for young people around the cancer patient. Leroy had many years of experience working with young people, and so decided to set up a charity to support young people indirectly affected by cancer.
DCF offers caring, supportive community projects which aim to make a positive difference to future lives and well-being of young people we work with.
We currently deliver 2 group programs, Your Space and Right Track.
Your Space is a monthly youth group which offers advice and guidance, fun activities, and a relaxed space led by the interest of the young people. Your Space aims to develop the participation and communication of everyone who attends.
The Right Track is a 4-week program that provides young people with strategies to increase resilience and overall well-being. The group focuses on topics such as healthy lifestyles, mindfulness, communication, and relationships with family and friends. These tools are the tools required to deal with difficult situations in life, and we have found feedback for this program to be really positive.
Leroy sadly passed away in 2018, and a group of his family and friends now run the foundation to ensure that his legacy lives on.
Don't forget to like our videos and subscribe to our channel for our latest DCF videos. Click on the description for more info or follow us on social media to find out more about our current projects.
Okay. So I'd like to say thank you for allowing me to kind of share some of that information and stuff like that. And I'm definitely open to any questions. If anyone has any questions or wants to know a little bit more or anything specific.
Brian, thank you so much. It was amazing and opening. Anyone have questions, comments, or points they'd like to discuss? Yes, Cheryl.
I thought I knew everything about DCF, but Leroy, what you presented today, both in the presentation and what you've said verbally, has taken it to another level. I found it hard to compose myself because it really, that connection with your brother and then the journey through yourself and through the trust and then out to the wider, how you're spreading your reach, it's phenomenal. Keep doing what you're doing. It's fantastic.
No, I really appreciate that, Cheryl. Thank you. And like you said, you know, you've supported us for a while now, a good few years. And Leroy is someone I know you definitely would have got on well with. Someone who's really well known within sort of the cancer circuit is a man called Chris Lewis. And I don't know if any of you guys are aware of Chris Lewis, but everyone knows Chris Lewis. Now, my brother's almost like a black version of Chris Lewis in terms of his energy and charisma. So when they met, they hit it off like a house on fire, and that enabled Chris to kind of like help me out as well along the way after Leroy passed. And so with that video that I shared with Leroy, it was one of those things that was really tough to make initially, but I wanted it to be hard hitting and I wanted it to be powerful, and I had a vision of how to deliver it. And I just said, Leroy, work with me on this. I've got this. And it's something what we do. We show that video to new members of staff and volunteers as part of their induction process, because we never want to forget Leroy as the blueprint of the foundation. You know, people refer to me as, oh, you know, Brian's the manager or this or that. I never used the CEO title because that was just Leroy. And I always am mindful to remind people of where we come from and where this whole process come from. So we tend to show that video then. So it's something I definitely wanted to share with you guys today to kind of give you a bit of a blueprint of what we do.
Thank you so much. Juliet has just written in the comments, great presentation, and the support to younger people is immense. Thank you.
Juliet, I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Gillian, I see you've unmuted. Do you have a question?
I have.
Go on.
I have.
Gillian, by the way, sorry to cut you. I was going to say, you look like my cousin, so it's really crazy. Like, as soon as you came on, she would have been in the kitchen as well, preparing snacks ready for a yoga session. So I thought, hold on a minute, what's going on here? So there's a slight resemblance, but yeah, sorry, apologies.
That's okay, no problem. You know, you can be my brother. I can be your auntie or your cousin, no problem. And I just wanted to say thank you for that. It really does put things into like perspective about our life. And sometimes we can just take our life for granted. It did bring a tear to my eye, you know, and God bless him, and his life and his legacy lives on through you. So, you know, thank you for showing us the video. You know, that both of them were just, you know, phenomenal for us to know him as he was, as he was doing and as he is now, you know, through you. So thank you for that. How have you made it sustainable through the pandemic? How have you, you know, you're going to be working on it now through the lockdown, the 3 lockdowns we had, and you're going to be opening up again.
Yeah.
You know, I know people in Croydon, so I was raised in Thornton Heath, so you probably do know me.
Yeah. It's a great question, and it's one when we just got to the beginning of it was towards the end of March and the middle of March, wasn't it? And we came into lockdown, so it had to think fast, really, of how we can still be able to provide a service, and with order to keep our funding from various providers and stuff like that. So our initial idea was to do what we do, but offer them as virtual sessions. Now, we knew that was going to be a difficult challenge. As we've seen today, you can always come up against technical issues and stuff like that. And we know, like, children and young people, generally attention span can be really, really short. So one of the things we did with the sessions that we offer virtually, we condensed the time. We literally cut it in half. So rather than being a 2-hour program, which we would do in person, we made it 1 hour. And that 1 hour is loaded. So it's loaded with different things. It's normally like 4 things generally within an hour. So each segment would last roughly around 15 minutes. And I meet with the youth workers once a month to plan the content in terms of what we're going to do for that planned session in order to keep a variety and keep things moving. So we really use Zoom to its maximum capabilities, where you can have breakout rooms. And so we were able to make the kids work in teams and go in different breakout rooms, then all come back together and do quizzes, and we do, you know, some interactive games where they have to find stuff within the house and come back, and loads of different things. And we also have a lot of deep and meaningful discussions as well within your space. There's a segment that we call Open Forum, which is practically the last 15 minutes of a session. And that's where we collectively discuss things and themes that the young people want to bring up, and what the staff also do as a backup. We also have a few subjects, generally what's going on in the news right now. So it'd be something relevant. So you can imagine when it was when we had the George Floyd stuff and the rise of Black Lives Matter protests and stuff like that, there was some really interesting conversations, and it was a real eye-opener for a lot of the young people, no matter what their race or creed. It even got into conversations of Jim Crow and lots of stuff. So it became really interesting and really powerful, and they're one of my favorite parts of the session. So in addition to sort of delivering virtually, we felt we needed to expand. So the dance space was never a project that we did, but we created that as a virtual project. So we added that as another thing that the young people can have access to. And in terms of doing direct works, during those elements of lockdown, we were still allowed to go into schools in Croydon to deliver. But obviously now, where it's tier 5, we're obviously not until from next Monday. We did receive a small booster pack, COVID booster pack from Children in Need as well, and that enabled us to do more media projects. So all of the stuff media-wise, they're only coming to fruition now. It's stuff we've been working on over the last 8 weeks or so, and what that basically is, we've put together a package of quick and simple, easy well-being tips. So it's like 8 videos that consist of 3 to 4 minutes on a different subject each time, that are aimed at young people, but also adults can utilize the same information as well. So we're going to be releasing that as of next week, from Monday and every other Monday for the next 8 weeks. And some of the guys also have come together to do a bit of a podcast as well. So we've just started a podcast where the guys have filmed four sessions, some of our younger staff members and also young people who are part of the steering group. So you get to hear that young voice, and it's just like a simple hour chat where they chat together and talk about different subjects that are relevant to young people. So those are some of the ways how we've managed to kind of keep going. We're still very small, and something I'm working on is trying to raise our profile, particularly having more better links with other agencies and establishments like hospitals and GPs, etc. But we very much become like just an overall well-being foundation. So it's applicable to all. And some people used to be quite scared and threatened by our name in terms of Duffus Cancer Foundation. They tend to home in on the cancer thing. And it's something I was never going to change, because it was the name that my brother come up with. But also, even if you're not a cancer, even if you don't have cancer linked to you, things like stress, anxiety, low self-esteem, that's cancer, right? That's like, it can eat away at you mentally. So it's for me, it's important that although we focus on well-being and resilience, our aim is to kind of sustain anyone that feels low in order to build them up. And then we want to recycle it. So when those young people get over the age of 17, what we then want to do is make those individuals part of the foundation. So whether they become youth workers or mentors to the younger people, that's what we aim to do. And we've done that with 2 people now. So one's 19 now. Gifty's 19. She had a cancer bereavement, and then she came in and received support for about a year. And then I just said to her, you know what, you're ready, because she was of age. She still wanted to attend the groups even though she was older, but I felt she had enough within her to become a staff member, and that's kind of where we're at now, and that's what we want to do, is recycle.
Sorry, I was saying that's really good. Thank you.
Thank you.
It is really good. Sorry, I stopped there, but you are allowed more than one comment each, by the way. So it's just to give everyone a chance. Brian, I've got a question as well, please. You said in your presentation you asked to get involved, and of course you were clearly welcomed with open arms. It would have been an emotional time for you, really emotional, and must at times be still difficult to talk about. What made you say, you know what, I'm going to give it my all, I'm going to get involved, take me on? What made you do that? And you're an asset, clearly, but what made you say, yes, I'm going to do this?
It was a combination that I wanted Leroy's legacy to live on. So that was one sort of passion of mine. So if we look at the beginning, so when my brother was still alive, as I said, there was a period of 6 to 8 months where he really cranked up the, not pressure, but the intensity of getting us established, getting us as an official charity, getting a venue, getting all these kind of things. And at that time, I played sort of a pivotal role in using my skills. So my background is I was a youth worker. So I've worked in schools with special needs, kids with autism and Asperger's and stuff like that. And I also was a youth worker for Merton Youth Service for 7 years. So at the time, and I also work currently, so as well as leading the foundation, I have 2 laptops here beside me with my other job. But so at that beginning time, my brother said, right, do you know what, like, develop group programs, develop what it would look like if young people were to access our service. So I developed the Right Track program, and I developed Your Space, the monthly, And then in 2017, we piloted it because what we had, which it fell into our lap, and I'm unfortunately, and I'm going to say unfortunately because of the circumstances, we had 9 people who at that time, so were connected to my nephew, my brother's son, his football team, who had all were going through cancer at the same time. So what we done is I used those individuals as the pilot to test run content, test run how we're going to do this, test run what they think works, what doesn't work, but it was the group, and that became your space. So I was heavily invested, even though I was a trustee, I was heavily invested because my role was to be in a lead with group work and facilitating the staff. So when it came to that that difficult moment of Leroy passing, and I always remember the first trustee meeting we had, it was very divided in a sense where there were members that were there who I could tell, if I looked them in the eye, I felt they're thinking, do you know what, this is it, like, let's not do this. It's a grind on us, it's a grind on our life, as well as dealing with loss and bereavement. And I was just not having that. So for me, I was very determined at the time to ensure that my brother's legacy continued, because I believed in what he wanted to do. I believed in the concept. There's loads of elements that he wanted to do that even now, 4 years on, we're not ready to do, but that was his ambition. He's fortune favored the brave. I'm a little bit more safe, and I like to have a bit of balance. So there's sometimes I act like him, but you know, so that was my thing really. It was just making sure it was important that his legacy kind of continued.
So it's a combination of his legacy, but also your combined passion.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's incredible. That's so good, and I'm glad you do, because there are young people out there that need it and could otherwise go off the rails.
100%. Yeah.
Are you just in? I know you're in the Croydon borough of Croydon, but have you, or are you expanding to other, because I know obviously London has the 33 boroughs, but you can't cover all 33, but wouldn't it be great if you were in the others as well?
Yeah, and that's the aim. That's definitely sort of like the medium to long-term aim. When just before Leroy passed, we had sessions dotted around. So what we say is we support anyone within South London and Surrey. And then, but we made Croydon our base, basically. So we were operating group sessions from there. Prior to Leroy passing, we had sessions in Bromley, Eltham, like just different parts. But it became very stretched with the team. And I sort of said, let's focus on one area and then expand, which meant we had to lose people, which is unfortunate. But I was looking at the longevity of making sure we were able to kind of run. So to answer your question, yes, we do plan to have more interventions in other boroughs, key boroughs. I'm very keen to deliver our Right Track program, the one that we do in schools, in other boroughs. That's definitely something that we've spoken about at the end of last year, to kind of see if we can reach more people, and then grow the team to then do sessions in other boroughs and have other bases where we can do sessions and stuff like that.
That's great.
Hi, Brian. I hope I can bring this across well without getting too emotional, and that you understand really what I'm trying to say. Sure. But phenomenal guy, and grief is not easy, and you can see your passion and your drive. But how do you manage the grief? Have you had time to grieve the loss of your brother? Because sometimes you take that energy into the message across, and at the same time internally it's almost as though you're dying too, but you've got to do this for your brother. So how do you form that balance and keep yourself in a full-time job? I don't know if you're in a relationship or in a family. How look after yourself?
That is an amazing question, Valerie. And basically, that is my daily task, is to keep things balanced. In terms of how I dealt with grief, since 2010, my family, and we reflected on this 2 weeks ago during a bit of a Zoom catch up, we've had devastation literally from 2010. Now that's as a family where we've just been dealt significant blows through bereavements or ill health with other family members. And we've also experienced our own individual grief. So for me, in 2012, I had 8 bereavements in the space of 11 months. So that was a fundamental year for me, because it was a year I lost, my dad and other people, and yeah, it's crazy. So I think I've developed a thick skin because of what I've gone through in the past. But growing older and being in the job that I do in terms of my other job and doing this, it's allowed me to kind of stay in the present and allow for time for healing, time to reflect and sort of never forget what's happened, but allow time to kind of process it. And I think what I currently do now is, it's very difficult. I try to live a balanced life that has to be structured and routine, because technically I do something every single day that's work related, definitely charity related. I am like trying to reduce my hours at my other job, so I can, my dream would obviously be to do the charity full time, right? So I have a loving and supportive wife who literally is my understudy when it comes to anything charity related. So she's been very helpful in picking up the slack. What we try to do is allow for some time where there's space away from work related matters. So we've got some downtime. Pretty much in the pandemic, we often go for walks like twice a day. So go before, like we've just started this thing where we'll go first thing in the morning, like 7:30, 8 o'clock. But then we'll also do our evening one as well. And that provides time for a little bit of space and clearing your head a little bit and reflecting. I'm someone that likes to stay in the present. I did a mindfulness course with an organization several years ago that was connected to my work, and it was like a 9-month thing, like 3 times a month or something like that. And that really highlighted to me the fact that the things we take for granted, because we don't always just stay now. We live in a society that's hard and fast, and it's designed in a way to make things easier for people. So to how to access things really quickly, how to do this quickly, how to, all these things go. But actually, sometimes if you just slow down and appreciate what you do have, life. We have life. Some people are fortunate to have a home where others are not. So I'm very, very grateful. And within our well-being promotion stuff, we often, we're very big on sort of highlighting gratitude and why it's important to be grateful, and also why it's important to stay in the present and not always get caught up in what's going on. I'll be honest, like I can fall victim to that as well on occasions. If things get, if I get caught up in stuff, then that's where I've got my wife to rebalance me and vice versa. And that's why I made a point saying it's a daily task for me. It's something I have to remind myself daily about my fundamentals and my values. And I have to, I have to practice what I preach, if that makes sense.
Any more comments at this time? Brian, thank you. Just excellent. And what you're doing for the young people, it's interesting because this particular trust group, the people that come on this forum are doers. Everybody is a doer. And so what you're talking about, and even the personal level of questioning, it's because this group, there are people absent, but that understands the pressure of what you're doing, the time it takes, the fact that you're busy, but you don't have time, but you make time. Absolutely. In order to make things happen. Even this group, Trust, is founded from Ministry of Empowerment, which was about women. But actually, we had to change the mission because it's women and their families. And right. What you do, you're focused on the young people, but the effect on their families will be profound.
Yeah.
My oldest friend I lost to spin-off from lupus. And her children really struggled to almost fit into life because they had to go out to school and be normal, and then come home to often a very sick mum who would spend days and days asleep. And I would have to go there and sometimes just do what I can to help. But there was an organization after a while for them. But after a while, and it changes everything. Yeah. Even for my friend's name was Caroline, knowing that there were people that for a few hours every week that children could go to, it takes off an immense amount of pressure. So what you're doing is excellent, and I can understand. I'm glad that you're treading water and doing more than treading water throughout the lockdown. As are you, Cheryl, you, Elaine, everybody, all of us here. Yeah. But because when the world opens again, at the moment, where is all the worry at the moment? The children who have not been going to school.
Absolutely.
Children who have to stay home with parents poorly. So actually get to see for longer hours of a day what parents are going through.
Yeah.
So your services, and we need to think about that, which hadn't crossed my mind. Yeah. But your services will be needed even more post lockdown.
Definitely, 100%. Because as you say, the school generation of today, they don't realize the impact that this has and will have going forward. It's complete game changer. So reintegrating, you're going to have a load of people who wanted to be back and now they're not. And then when they do come back to some form of normalization, they're not going to be able to manage it. It's going to be very overwhelming. So yeah, there are, and we are thinking of those kind of things already, and trying to make sure that options of reaching people remain open in terms of how we support people, because the virtual thing, I think, can still be an option regardless of when things are lifted. So
yeah, it has been an advantage, because even for us today, we had Tobago jump in, and we've got France here, and the world is opened. Even though, and we're Milton, some of us on here are Milton Keynes, and you lot are South London, mate. It really does. It brings us all closer together.
It's true.
I'm going to allow you to pause there, and unless anyone has anything more to say. Okay, I'm also going to say Trust Support is building a website, and the work that has been shared in yourself, Cheryl, what you do, Elaine, is already on the MOE, but still, we're going to try and link your organizations onto the Trust website. And I will ask you for the website, because I am designing it at the moment. I want to ask what you would like to see on there. And I also, once it's done, would want to know how you would want to be represented. Okay? Because putting up the trust, I'm learning that from Lee, actually. Putting up that, he might have said, I've got a job at Macmillan. And I'm very pleased to have that job. And in fact, he sends his apologies because he is hosting a conference with an expected 1,600 participants.
Wow.
But yeah, so he could end it there and say, I've got a good job. But he does. I've learned, and I had learned from Sister Dorothy anyway, that the more that we network, the more that we can help, and on different levels. So I want you to please think about what it is you would like to see on the Trust website. All's well and good, us putting something together that looks pretty, but we want something that's useful. Okay. So please think about that. You can get in touch on the Trust, but you can also just direct private message me with what you want to see, because it is being built now. And as you must know with your own websites, as you have them, no website is good unless it's constantly kept alive and updated, constantly refreshed. I almost have to timetable Monday, right? I need to add something. And I know it's not a blog, but a website still has to be current. So I really want to know what you're doing and would like to keep up communication. It's very useful and helpful. So if you could put your ideas and messages either directly to me or on the Trust support group for people to discuss, then that would be very, very helpful.
No problem.
As we start to round up now as well, Lee wanted to share an initiative that's going round that he wanted you to know about. He tried to send me a link, but a video, but says he thinks it's been taken down. Yes, he has been messaging while he's been preparing for his big job. But it's to do with something called the Digital Storytelling Workshop. And he wants to make sure, he said these messages, do you all know about it? Including yourself, Brian. It's to do with anyone who has any links or a story around cancer. Whether you have it, whether you know someone who's had it, whether, hint, you're working initiatives to help people around it, how it's influenced your life. Now, this digital storytelling workshop, it's free. And there is an individual, I don't know the details, I'm telling you about it now. We'll show a video, the first meeting in April, but they will actually guide you through it, talk to you, interview you. If it's you on your own or with somebody else that don't know, it doesn't matter, but they'll just guide you in terms of doing that, because she's building up an archive which will help others. So this is the digital storytelling workshop. So I don't know, just indicate, any of you got involved in that yet? No? Okay, be fantastic. Cheryl, I'm looking at you, Elaine, Gillian, Norma, Juliet, Valerie, I'm looking at all of you. I'm even looking at me because, we all have a story to tell. Cancer will have touched us in some way, in some part of our life or in our heart, yeah, to be fair. So that's why we're here. So the video will be shown. Oh, I've just got a message. He says he's just sent it. Let me see if I've got it. He says he's just sent it. But if he hasn't, I think he's coming on. If it hasn't arrived, it's okay. We'll share that the next time. But know ye this, the video, this could be him coming. Yeah, I think this is Lee coming to share it.
Oh, nice.
How's that for timing? He also said, Brian, that you gave a presentation before and he wasn't able to see it then.
Yeah,
So
the Kiwanis, yeah.
That's why I said, okay, we're recording this. Hello, Lee.
Hi.
Yes, Lee.
Hi.
Good to see you, Brian. Hello, everyone.
Likewise, man. Very good to see you. You okay?
So far, so good.
Good stuff.
Excellent. We've had an amazing session. Your video hasn't come to me yet, but
You know what?
have.
I typed in the wrong address. I don't know why.
I'm just
trying to correct it now. I've got dyslexia, dyspraxia, and ADD, so duplicating things is not really my gift.
Ah, okay. And you know what? I picked that simple email address to help, but that's all right. So it's okay.
Oh, do you know what? Yeah, I see the mistake that I made. I put Gmail instead of Hotmail.
Oh no, I'm Gmail. CVTA77.
Yeah, I put Hotmail instead of Gmail. Sorry.
Okay, at gmail.com.
Yeah.
So we have just talked about it and about the opportunity to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So, I've just heard, I think my email was that your email I was hearing? All right. While we're waiting for it to come through, any general feedback on the session? Happy with it? There it is, it's come in. Elaine, I see you're about to speak. Can you unmute, please?
Yeah, oh, mind-blowing. And it's lovely because you've stated, the journey, your brother. There's so much that you've included, which, wow, yeah, it's been informative for me as well, linked to your brother's, condition and the different things linked to it. But yeah, it's opened my eyes on bits and the great things that can be done.
Sure.
Even and educating and informing other people as well, because there may be different things that go on in different people's lives which we don't actually know enough about or question. So in a way, I think thank you for putting it out there. And obviously it enables us to spread the word and even be able to say, oh, have you heard about this group and what they're doing and the additional bits you're doing in the borough of Croydon and with young people. It's really good. And I feel that I will be passing that on myself because I've had a recent bereavement of my sister-in-law who passed away with cancer. And one of my grandnephew, he was with grandma, grandnephew's and niece was with grandma because grandma brought him up. And obviously with some of the support that you've got in place, and as a young person, he's 17, to know that other young people are within a group, so that is really beneficial. So thank you so much.
Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Elaine, thank you so much. I'm going to be putting up a link. I've got the video, thanks, Lee. I'm going to be putting up a link for your feedback on the session. It'll be the blog, and just put your feedback in the comments. Our next meeting's going to be the 5th of April. All right. And in that, with the help of Lee, certainly we are going to have, availability permitting, a poet, a female poet, and hopefully as well, somebody called David Gorgeous, all right, who will be sharing his story. I'll try and get out, thank you for coming. I'll try and get out, I did try and send little hints to remind you when it was so that people could remember not to book anything else at that time, but I'll put even more pointers out so you know the date will be Monday the 5th. So we will have some speakers there, but just so that you know about the storytelling workshop, I'm going to share it now. Thank you, Lee. How is it going so far? Has it started yet? The conference?
Yeah. No. It's tomorrow.
Okay. Oh, it's the preparation.
Mhm.
All right. Right. I'm going to share this video about the storytelling workshop. Get involved. Here we are. Share sound. All right. Just make sure I can see it.
When I think of home, I think of comfort and safety and warmth and chaos. I grew up in a house with 6 kids and mum and dad and our wee dog called Pete, and our house, it had a rhythm and it was full of the sounds of life. It was full of love. One of my earlier memories is sitting on mum's knee, smell of tea on her breath and the warmth of her chest and her distant heartbeat rocking me off to sleep. As a young child, I had tinnitus, I still do, and sound's important to me because when I listened to noise, it would drown out the constant ringing in my ears. And I remember in the night when everything is silent, I would get very anxious and I'd go knock on mum and dad's bedroom door and hop into bed with them. It was warm and their breathing comforting. It was home and I was safe. The day I got my diagnosis began with excitement and urgency and laughter, and we'd organised to go to the city a day out, pick up my eldest son from university and bring him home. I had major surgery about 4 weeks previous, so my sister, she was driving. I was brought into the doctor's office and he asked me, did I know why I was there? I thought it was for my post-surgery appointment, and he said, no, you have cancer. And I said, are you having a laugh? I'm not normally very quiet, but cancer was never discussed. I was never tested for it. It was never on the cards. I just sat there, my sister holding my hand and sobbing, and my breathing and my heart racing and my head spinning, and I thought to myself, I need to settle down. We were in the car and it was safe and it was familiar, and the smell and the drone of the engine. My son, he hopped in and he had his headphones on and I could hear the distant drum of the bass and the rhythm, and it was comforting, and the rain and the whoosh of the motorway and blast of the hot air and the wipers back and forth, but somehow it was safe. The rhythm got me through the 2-hour journey home. When I did get home, the lights were on and the boys were chatting and it was all normal, and I was thinking, I have a grenade in my pocket ready to explode this familiar, normal, loving rhythm of my home. I told my husband and he didn't know how to react. He just said, we'll talk and we'll be all right. We went to bed and I woke up at about 4 o'clock in the morning and I was very restless and my mind was racing, and I just started to go into a panic, and I went downstairs and I went into the kitchen and I put the kettle on, and it was so loud, and I was trying to take everything out very quietly, and the cups were rattling, and I started to circle the kitchen and started rubbing my hands, and I don't know why, and for whatever reason I just said stop. My mind just in that moment clicked, and I decided I wasn't going to go down the road of panic and fear, and I got into my son's bed and it was warm and it was comfortable, and the rain, it was patting off the window, and the trees were rustling outside, and the wind brought me back to when I was a little kid. And I started to calm down, and my heartbeat and my breathing, and I started to rock gently in a rhythmic motion, and I was home and I was safe and everything was okay, and if it wasn't, that was okay too. And from that moment I've always said to myself, tomorrow will come and go regardless.
Yeah, that's it.
Wow.
Wow.
really powerful. I know that many of you are probably thinking, oh my gosh, that looks like it's so hard to do. But the whole purpose of the workshop is to bring people up to the level, irrespective of how minimal their IT skills may be or their use of their mobile phones, etc. And it's just about using the things that are around you to tell your own story. And once these videos, so to speak, are created, they don't have to be shared. You might decide that you don't want to share it with anybody. You might decide that you want to leave it as part of your legacy, to just tell your family how you may have felt during your cancer journey when that time is right, for them to see it according to how you feel. But I think it's just about capturing the stories using spoken words. So it could be a voice note, it could be video footage, it could be photographs, it could be things that you've drawn or painted. It could be a piece of material or a color that represents something for you, but it's just about expressing part of your experience. And it's open to anybody who has either had a personal experience of cancer or has been affected by it. And I'm going to send an email to Venice today that she can forward on to anybody who might be interested in actually getting involved. But the spaces are going fast, and I'm a bit concerned that all the other groups that I've been speaking to across London are jumping at it, and I don't have anybody from Trust signed up yet. So I need to rectify that, because you're the group that's dearest to my heart. This is the only cancer support group that I've started, and this was even before I was working at Macmillan. So it's so important to me to see that the people that are part of the group that I belong to are actually meaningfully engaged with it. So I'd like to encourage you, no matter what your skill level is or confidence level, we'll take care of you. And it doesn't matter if you can't attend all the sessions for whatever reason, because we understand that in this cancer journey that some people are going through, you'll have ups and downs in terms of your health or even your well-being. You might not just feel mentally prepared to go into a session at some point. But the taster session, I should say as well, the lady Morag that runs it, she's happy to have a one-to-one with people and speak to them on the phone or through a video call like this. But she's also running some taster sessions. There's one tomorrow, and there's a couple more going before the session starts as well. So I'll send that information over as I promised. And hopefully
tomorrow on Zoom.
Yeah, there's one tomorrow on Zoom. Let me just check what time it is. I can tell you now. Oh gosh, I'm trying to pull up the email.
While you're looking, a message in the chat from Juliette from France. She says, very powerful. That's the digital storytelling.
Brilliant. Yes, so thank you, Juliette. So the taster sessions are on the 2nd of March, the 9th of March, and the 16th of March from 2 o'clock till 4 o'clock. And the workshops start on the 18th of March. So there's spaces left on the one that's 6:30 in the evening till 8:30 in the evening each week. But the one that's during the day from 2 till 4, that's fully booked, so they've got a waiting list.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you. Thanks for that update. I really strongly urge you to get involved because you have a story to tell. Yeah. So I think we need to call it a close, even though this trust support time I find very precious and very special. So I'm going to put a link. Brian, may I add you to the group, to the WhatsApp? You can, just see how it goes.
Yeah, of course.
So that, and I'll send you a link on there so you can see the comments from our website, from the blog. And I'm also going to put up some little prompts saying, what would you like to see on our Trust website? And also, not only that, what would you like to see on a Trust support website? But also, for those where I've said I'd really like to represent you on there, how would you like to be represented? Yeah, it may be one of these videos could help even. So Lee, thank you for connecting us.
Always a pleasure.
You for all that's going on, and all of you, thank you for networking. So until the 5th of April at 11 a.m, it will be on WhatsApp, but 5th of April at 11 a.m. Thank you so much, Brian. I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Dealing with you from the first email to today has just been an absolute pleasure. You're a very special person. Wish you were my brother.
Oh, bless.
Which you might be. Lord, but you are amazing, and you're doing it for yourself now and
No.
for your.
Do you know what, Venice? I've never met Brian before, you know, but I keep hearing the same kind of description whenever people are talking about him. And funnily enough, everyone that seems to talk about you, they're always ladies. So I don't know what's going on, mate, but whatever cologne you're wearing, it's working.
You know what? Like, yeah, I just got to give thanks. Thanks for the opportunity. Lee, thanks for connecting us up and allowing me to being a part of this. I really enjoyed it. I felt relaxed. It was nice to just kind of share a story and share a journey with like-minded people too. And yeah, I would definitely like to come again at some point, definitely. And I'm willing to support, and I can send you information as well. So no, happy. And Lee, I'm happy to come to your virtual barbershop thing you got going on as well. Definitely, I need to drop into that.
I'll send you the link now on Twitter. Yeah. Nice.
All right.
Wonderful. It's excellent. Valerie says, thank you so much. This is to you, Brian. Thank you so much. Powerful. Keep going, Brian. Doing an awesome job, which you are. So thank you. So it is only time now to say bye-bye for now, or see you again soon. Until the next time. Thank you. And all the best for your conference, Lee. Thank you. Bye-bye for now. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.